Record on this computer. We are recording. Welcome everybody to week number 9. I looked up it was week number 9 of the Extra Support webinar. So a lot of you know that this was birthed and launched at the beginning of all the COVID virus stuff, when my life was, going down the toilet tube. My husband lost his job. We're like 9, 10, probably 10 weeks into it now. And we are flourishing and we're blooming. And it's not because I'm any different to you. It's not because I've got an easier path. It's not because I've been offered all these different amazing opportunities. The difference is I knew I was in pain. I knew that we were being challenged. I knew that some things were going to change. But on top of that, I also had a whole lot of tools, techniques, and have dedicated my life to being the best version of myself, neutralizing the fear, taking inspired action, not just action. That's come up for me this week. I was in the do. I had trained my brain so well because of the processes of all these things, trained my brain so well that I was just like, boom, 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 I'll take action. I get it all done. And I was like, hold on a second. At the end of the day, I'm feeling quite tired and not lifeless, that's not the right word, but it was kind of starting to get a bit boring and a bit monotonous because I had trained myself so well to take action. And the little bit that had started to have the gap or was missing was the inspired part. So today, as we're speaking about taking action, let's even go deeper into taking inspired action, because what you'll find is a lot of you, I know because I see your names on the call, are taking action. You're doing a lot of stuff, but you ain't going anywhere. You're spinning the wheels and you don't know how to go from where you are in this spinning. Let me know if I'm right. Let me know if I'm wrong, or is it just me? Put up here on the social media, spinning the wheels, round they go. You get to the end of the day and you feel like you've been busy all day and doing stuff all day and taking action all day, but you're exhausted, you're tired, you look back over your day, you scan over the day and you're like, well, I got jack shit done towards my goals and dreams and possibly even your physique if you're trying to get healthy. So what we do is we spend a lot of our life teaching ourselves, and the personal development industry, teaching ourselves to get into this process driven, to get on autopilot. And then it goes to the next level. You start personal development and we autopilot some higher priority things, some higher vibrational actions and some higher vibrational bits and pieces. But then what happens? Hello, Michelle Ann. My sister just jumped on up there. Then what happens is that becomes your standard. That becomes your normal. And guess what? I'll speak from experience. Then you bloody well get bored with that. And then the universe will throw you a curveball and you can juggle it for a little bit and you can get lost in the despair, you can get lost in the frustration, you can get lost in the conversation, you can get lost in all different areas of your life. But the ones of you who will succeed in life, business, fitness, playfulness, happiness, success, whatever it is to you, are the ones that keep coming back to continue to do this work, that keep looking over and scanning over, what am I currently doing? Because I'm basically going through a process now, guys, where I'm unlearning everything that I've spent tens and thousands of dollars learning. And pretty much my whole life, I'm unlearning the lot, because to take my business, my physique, my relationships, my life to the next level, what I've learned up till now got me here. And I'm going through that deep transition that's going to help me take this next really big leap. I can't take that leap, and you can't take that leap if you are stuck in like holding on to the things that have worked for you in the past. And with personal development, that's one of the hardest things, because I'm like, I've been here and I've spent this and I've done this and it's worked. So my subconscious brain is like, you beauty, it's working, that worked, I'm going to keep doing it. But what happens for me is I keep doing it, I raise the standard of my life, and then something happens, I get thrown a curveball. And instead of getting lost in it, I say to myself, okay, where is this curveball showing me where I am currently disempowered in my life? Where can I scan through my day, my weeks, my months and go, okay, here's the gaps. Let's fill them and move on to the next thing. So this is this ring. Pretty much what you're going through now is you're about to jump off the cliff and you're just about to get out of your comfort zone. And we might call that spot A. You're about to leap off the cliff. And then what you'll do if you work with me and you're supported by the community is you're going to leap, because you do. And then you come down here and you go out of your comfort zone, in discomfort, down here into a bit of a pit, a bit of a hole into the unknown, I don't know. And then the next thing that happens is you just like, It's like an arrow being pulled back, and it just shoots you and launches you, woo, off you go up there. And then guess what happens? You get up here. You can also see me. I've got several devices set up here. I wish you could see it. I'm just trying to make sure each device can see where my hands are. So you're pulled back like an arrow. You're launched, and you're sitting like up here in a new standard of life. Your relationships are better. Your health is better. Your physique is pumping. Your business is kicking it. And you're sitting here, and guess what? This A that you went down to B and then up to C, because this C up here when you're being launched becomes your new A. So next minute, you know you're uncomfortable again. You need to take that leap. So you hold hands with your mates, jump off over the edge, go down the hole, and then come back up. So that's sometimes why we feel like we're on this roller coaster, this roundabout of getting there and then feeling the discomfort and jumping again. So we've really just got to understand that the jump, you get launched into the stratosphere, and then your new standard sits up here and you start from here. And the whole cycle starts again. Who likes the sound of that? Does that scare you or does that excite you? I want to know. So if you're on the live up here on my personal page, does it scare you or does it excite you? Over here on my business page, Diane McKendrick Junkies over here, does it scare you or does it excite you? And all the beautiful people who have taken the extra effort to come over here and see the slideshow, does it scare you or does it excite you? This roundabout thing that we continue to go on. And this sometimes, I don't know if you've ever feel like this, but I'm so committed to myself and my personal development, started to think there was something wrong with me because I'd do something really good for a little bit of time. And then that feeling creeps in like, but isn't there more than this? Isn't like waking up in the morning, like I worked so hard to get here, but hold on a sec, isn't there something more? And I started to think there was something wrong with me. So going out, looking on the outside of me for support and help, and who can I pay to teach me this, and then do that and do that. And then what I realized was it's just the process. So keep putting yourself in and around people who are, one, aware of this, and two, committed to greatness in their life. So the process I'm going to take you through today, it's probably going to take about half an hour. If you're not on the Zoom yet, my team will drop in the comments above in that there will be a link to a Zoom meeting, and you can jump in here and you're going to be able to see the PowerPoint. And particularly today, I think it's important with the visuals that you jump on and have a look. So have a think about that. And as I go deeper into the rest of the content, really just think about that. That's what I want you to think about today. Because I don't want you to ever wake up and feel like something's wrong with you. I am not one of those coaches. You'll hear it in the marketing. Look for their pain. Listen to people's pain and feel that gap from. Go to the pain point in the marketing because people are in pain and you want to convince them to come and work with you and do the thing. Boo. And I was thinking about it on my morning walk this morning. I was like, that just doesn't sit right. I know people are in pain, but the intention and the vibration of painful marketing or advertising or getting in the subconscious and convincing you need me, it doesn't sit right. So I'm very open and authentic, and I want you to know you have got everything inside of you. I'm just trained in pressing the right buttons to help you bring it out. So every morning when you wake up and when you do start to feel that gap, to feel that space, that's just spirit, that's life, that's the way that we are designed and operated to think. Know that that's the fullness. Know that the magic happens in the unknown, in the space. Surround yourself with people who will support you through that, and then commit to always showing up. And if you can do that, you're going to wake up most mornings, even when you do feel that gap, and you're going to kick butt. So last couple of days, instead of doing the do, I've just taken some real gentle time out for myself. And Michelle and I did it the other day. Usually we get together for the day and we do all of this, my sister Michelle Ann, Soul Healer, and we do everything that I'm teaching you. And we get literally about 2 weeks work done in one day because of the way we set the day up, which is all part of the mastermind. I take you through the scheduling, I take you through the mindset, I take you through the vibration and energy of the thoughts and intentions. Before you start to work, we change your language. Honestly, about a week or two, like a phenomenal amount of work together because we now have a team on board. We're organized, the vibration is sitting well, and it just goes ballistic. So I'm going to teach you how to do that. All that is part of the mastermind, but it's bite-sized chunks where you're just taking little step by little step. We make it your new standard, your new normal, so you're not having to try as hard. all the time, and it's just normal, and then you just take the next step and the next step. So that's what I'm really passionate about, is very gently nurturing you on to the next spot in your personal development and in your life. So let's get started. I'm definitely there. Okay, cool. So do you ever, you can't see the pretty pictures, I want you to see the pictures. Do you ever, or is it just me, and let me know if you're on the lives, or if you're over here on the Zoom, have you ever had so much work to do that you actually don't know where to start? Like, it's just so overwhelming and so overburdened. I see everybody nodding. Yes, I know what you mean. The funny thing here is I used to think that too. But as I started to do this process and I was reviewing and scanning what I actually had to do, it was only the thought of the thing. And I was like, I have convinced myself, and I've got in this pattern where I feel like I've got heaps to do, but that actually just was a subconscious pattern running. When I wrote it down all on paper and I scheduled it in, it showed me where I had so much more time. It showed me where I was spinning my wheels, wasting time, sitting here for 15 minutes, like, shit, where do I start? So the first thing we need to do is plan. Get everything out of your head. Literally, I write it on a piece of paper. Like, just, it's not very professional, it's not very high tech, but I still just use an A4 piece of paper. I brain dump everything onto that piece of paper, and then I go and schedule it. But the thing is, I'm not going into scheduling today. It seems like such a simple concept, but it will change your life. Before I get into the rest of the thing here, the other thing that's so important, that none of this is going to matter if you're not healthy, if you're not bouncing out of bed in the morning, if you don't have solid relationships and know your values. So we've really got, it's a little bit further down the webinar, but we've got to speak to you and bring up for you what's important to you. What is your perfect life? How do you want to feel when you wake up in the morning? How can we set those standards and increase them for you so you're waking up and having a healthy breakfast? So you're waking up early enough to get some time to set your intentions and your state for the day. That's the sort of stuff that is so simple and so easy, but most people won't do it. If you're on here watching me, you're committed. And there's some of you, I see some faces on here that just turn up every single week. My podcast reviews are going through the roof. People are listening. It's out there on Spotify right now. It's by far not perfect. I was so excited before this meeting because I just received back from my assistant. I added an intro and an outro. I'm up to week number 9 on the podcast, and I get so much good feedback from it. And I took the photo. Some of you have heard this story. I was at my friend's. I was like, I want to start a podcast. You've got the gear. Can you just take a photo for me? Because I don't even have the gear, let alone know how to use it. She literally pulled a dirty bloody sheet out of the wash, hung it up over a whiteboard. I got the gear, I got the photo, took the photo, set the camera up, started the podcast. And it's hilarious because every time I look at that photo, I'm like, oh, if people only knew. But the reason I'm telling you this, because I am up to number 10 next week. It's my 10. I scheduled it. I got the photo. I did the Canva. I recorded my first one with a microphone that I didn't know how to use. And everyone said to me, you can't do a podcast if you don't have really good sound. Unless you spent, is this the case? Can you not do a podcast unless you spent $2,000 on all the gear? I went out, bought a microphone for $80, sat on my desk for 6 months, didn't know how to use it. Me and my sister Michelle had a good laugh because it sat here and it looked good. And she's like, oh, that looks cool. How do you use that? And I was like, I don't bloody know. If I didn't do that podcast before I was ready, because then the next thing in my head, I listened to a couple of other people's podcasts. It's like intro, really professional. In this podcast, we discussed this, and it sounded so great. And there was music with it. And then they gave me all this amazing content. And we got to the end, and then they had an outro, these things called intro and outro. I didn't even know what they were called. And then they had music, and it was their voice saying, if you want to work with me, go here and go there. And I was like, oh, well, can't do that. Got no idea. How on earth am I going to do that? No idea. And I thought, so maybe I won't do it. Who wants to guess if I did it or not? If you've been working with me for a while, do you think I bloody well did the podcast? So the first couple was scratchy. The sound wasn't great. I got messages back from people saying, Dane, I can't wait every week now to your podcast. Listen to it on my walk, not in my head. Yep, this is it. Sorry, the sound wasn't perfect, but I've helped someone. So I did it anyway. And the reason I share this story is because this morning I bloody well asked for help. And right before I did this message, I got the series through. Number 9, stop spinning your wheels, because I've set it up to repurpose all the information to nurture people to the next part. And boom, shikalala. I got intro, outro, which I recorded the other day. after I bawled all morning because I was going through a rough time, and my mentor pulled me over the hot coals and poked me in places that were sore, bawled, but it was in my schedule. I'd been crying. I looked like shit. It's all right. It's sound. People don't need to know what I look like. Just after bawling, bawling, crying for those Americans that are watching, big ugly cry, it was in my calendar, and I did the intro and the outro today. It came in, the music's been added, the intro's there. Hi, everybody, welcome to the Rise and Shine podcast series where we discuss X, Y, and Z. I'm your presenter, Diane McKendrick. Boom, 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 boom. So now when you listen to the podcast, what's going to be sitting in your subconscious is like, oh my gosh, wow, this chick is freaking amazing. Just kidding. You might be thinking that. You might think I'm a bit of a screw loose too. But you're not going to be thinking and putting me on a pedestal going, okay, now she's written a book. It's gone bestseller. She has done a podcast. She's got the jewelry line out, got the Pixie cards about to be launched. I've just launched my third piece of merchandise, which is earrings, due to be here any day. The mastermind is pumping. I can't, because honestly, if that's what I had have listened to, oh, now she started a podcast. How did she do that? I would have put that woman, and I have, and I still sometimes do, on a pedestal, dreaming, longing, yearning that I wanted to be able to do that. Little voice in the back of my head, only famous people do that. Only clever people do that. The other voice in my head is like, sweetheart, you ain't famous and you ain't clever. So you can keep listening to her podcast and wishing like hell that something's going to happen to you. And then the other voice in my head is like, take action. Small bite-sized bits every day. So now when you listen to this podcast, not only are you going to get the amazing content and information, if I do say so myself, you're going to know that dreams are possible. Please don't wait for stuff to be perfect. Please don't wait for the right person to drop on your doorstep. Do you think I had any viewers, any listeners? My mentor's going on, I think, 1,600 viewers and listeners. In my head, I'm like, oh God, I'll never get there. I might have 56. But instead of going always more, always up, I'm like, okay, that's an opportunity to change 56 people's lives. I've got 56 regular viewers on it that are listening to it. Instead of going, what's next? How do I get more? Which is definitely a pattern I've visited. I go, okay, these 56 people, even if there's one or two, are human souls, like each and every single one of you on this call right now. You have a life, a livelihood. You have things that excite you, things that upset you. And if I can deliver something, one gold nugget that hits you in the side of the head and makes you go, ah, oh my gosh, Kristen said it the other day as one of the testimonials, like, because Michelle always, my sister Michelle Ann always laughs. She's like, these bloody gold nuggets, she's like, I'm over you talking about gold nuggets, because when you talk and people listen and you're delivering stuff all the time, you often say the same things. Michelle's like, if you say bloody gold nugget one more time, I'm going to throw one and hit you in the head. And that was so hilarious, because I got the testimonial from beautiful Kristen the other day saying, you got to watch this stuff. I look forward to it every week. Gold nuggets coming flying at me left, right, and center. And I was like, yeah, baby, get those gold nuggets dropping, because that's what it's all about. The gold nuggets are like the aha moment. So I know it took a really long time to tell that podcast story, but that's the behind the scenes shit you don't see and you don't hear from people. It is so easy to hide. It's so easy to say the intro's not ready, the outro's not ready. I just literally look like I'm still in my pajamas because I've had a rough couple of days. Even one of the hardest days where we'd experienced some unprecedented growth in our business. And sometimes growth is painful. Quite often growth is painful, where both Michelle and I were just like, what the heck? What the shit are we going to do now? And spent the day sort of like just having to bring ourselves back. We both had calls booked for that night. It did not even enter my mind not to do the call. I just show up for the people. There's still 50 people here that I can help, even though that I'm struggling, I'm having a bad day. It doesn't matter what I look like. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter how you sound. What really matters is, doesn't even matter if you completely balls it up, because I've definitely done that as well. If you completely balls it up, then you just listen to it and you do it better next time. So a lot of people will say, when you start doing Facebook Lives and stuff, don't listen and don't watch it back. I'm like, crap, watch it back. Feel uncomfortable. If you're shit, then get better. When I said this, it made me feel like that. And if it's making you feel like that, imagine how it's making other people. Don't delete it. Stand in your power and say, I'm not bloody well perfect. I'm doing the best I can. I'm getting the information out. I want to help you. I sounded like a bloody dead donkey for the whole time, but I'm going to do better next time. So when I first started, I hated the sound of my own voice, hated it. And I would cringe when I'd watch myself. And I would sit here and I'd take notes like I was watching someone else. What did I do well? First of all, advanced self-review. This is what this call's about. What did I do well? This, and this. Keep doing that. And then create a product or a service around what I did well. And then look at what I didn't do well and go, okay, I didn't do very well here, here, and here. I said this many arms, and I looked over here and I picked my nose, whatever it is. Stop picking your nose. Don't pick your nose on Facebook. But then I wrote that down. I was like, guess what? That's another product or service for other people wanting to get out there and do lives. So do all the thing, get all the information, review yourself, and go back and make it better next time. And it doesn't have to go from here being dead donkey shit like mine was when I first started to over here how I can do it now. But what will happen is little bit by little bit, you're going to get better and better and better until you've got several bloody machines set up around you and you're talking to several different people. And I still get the flutters in my tummy because it makes me nervous that I'm being viewed from so many different angles and up my nose and under my armpits and everything. But I was like, doesn't matter. I haven't had the time or the money to set everything up so it looks perfect, but I'm taking action. You're getting the content. If you're over here, you want to make sure you get over here so you can see the slideshow. If you're up here on my personal page, hey Nats, good to see you tuning in from New Zealand. I'm going to come over and see you when they open some bloody borders around here. So yeah, you've got so much work to do. You don't know where to start. Keep doing the same things and expecting the different results. How many of us do that? Waste your energy running in circles, round and 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 round. I know, I do it too. Feel like you've got far more things to do than time to do it. Little tip, change your to-do list, like you have to do it, because quite often to-do list at the top of the page, boom, and then you start writing everything down and you're like, shit, I got so much to do. Just changing the language in the word to get to do. Honestly, out of all the products and services that I offer that go from free to like a couple of grand packages, people almost weekly, I get a message from someone with a picture of this is one of my merchandise. This sticker was on here, the golden Amazon bestseller. My book just went bestseller. You can see it, or depending on what device you're on, you can see it up there. So just by changing it to get to do. So literally weekly, someone sends me a photo of their get to do list and how I've helped them set it up, write it out. Says this has changed my life. Something so simple, a $35 book has changed people's lives. So this just quickly, and some of you might have heard this already, but the daily affirmation, so we set the intention and the vibration for the day. The next thing that we do is today I get to, and you have 3 to 5 things that you don't go to bed. They're non-compromisable. You don't go to bed until they're done. Because what happens is we do this massive big list a lot of the time. You might get 5 or 10 things done, and then you've added another 10. So the subconscious is feeling and thinking like you're never getting stuff done. The reality of it is you are getting stuff done. You just keep adding more to it. So we need to get you to feel as though you are ticking. Firstly, you get to do it. You don't have to do it. And this is what changed my mindset around this is I was at a seminar one day and there was a lady on stage and she said her baby was crying and she was just over getting up every hour, every night to breastfeed her baby. And one day it landed for her. She said, the language in her was like, oh no, I got to get up to this kid. And she said, when she changed it and went into gratitude, like I get to get up to my child. There's so many people out there that their dream is to have a baby and they can't. Where can I find the gratitude in this? So when you're reviewing yourself, keep this in mind, this really solid questioning that can help you flick your mindset and change your state and get more of the things that you desire. So far more things on the to-do list. I got a bit off. Well, no, it's all on the path. It's all on the path to giving you this information. Do you get frustrated daily because you never get the time to do the things that you want to do? So you're running around, chasing around after everyone else, the kids, the partner, the school, you're in the PNC, you're at netball, you're doing the thing. And it gets to the end of the day and you're like, oh, I'd love just to sit and have a cup of tea. And you're that bloody exhausted, you can't even have time to have a cup of tea. Well, then if that's you, this call is definitely for you. Know that you are here for more. Is this you? Do you wake up in the morning and think there's got to be more to life than this just autopilot, robotic rat race? That was me for a long time before I, intentionally started this work. So let's get moving. This is stopping you from your dreams. And here's just a snapshot of a couple of mine that have come true in the last little bit. Obviously the monthly mastermind, which means I'm in people's head, home and heart. Well, I'm here doing the things that I love to do with my family, which is really special. All the content is bite-sized chunks, and it's just broken up into little bits so you can consume it. Timeless and spaceless. People's biggest challenges is I don't have the time and I don't have the money. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to overcome both of them. It's only $80 a month and it's timeless and spaceless. You can consume that content any bloody well time you want. Just put it on while you sleep. It'll go into your subconscious. You have to do less. Speaking in front of people. So you all know that I'm just like, used to be deathly shy. I couldn't even go and order myself a coffee. This is me in a coffee shop speaking in front of over, I think there was like 110 people there that day. So huge, massive. That's my dream. Obviously my book that just went Amazon bestseller, and running our retreats. Always since I was a little girl, I wanted to bring people together. Now we haven't even advertised the next retreat because we didn't have a date for it. The date is now set to the weekend of the 12th of September, and we only got 6 spots left. So we haven't advertised it. And there's only 6 spots left. So if you're thinking about it, you want to come, you need to ask me for more information, because those 6 spots, the moment we advertise it, will sell out. So put it there on your vision board, put it out there for yourself. And if you want to come hang out with some really good people, and the key to the retreat for me is I get you through your processing. When I'm working with you one-on-one or you're joining in these parts, we only get to see you through little bits. But when I have you for 24, 48 hours, I really can give the support. So we bring the best parts of science and spirituality together, the way the brain works, the chemistry of the brain, the retraining of the brain, and then the deep spiritual work where we go deep into like the soul and the connection and how it's all linked. Very powerful. So that will be held on the weekend of the 12th of September, and that's in Brisbane, near where we live. So I'm just checking who else. Oh, look at all you amazing. Sammy's on, Carmen's on, Anita's on, Lucia, good to see you. I love that color shirt. Beautiful. Karen is on, and Karen and Philip. We've got so many. Good to see you all. Okay, let's keep moving. Okay, so this is it. This is the content. Let's get into it. Basically, you need to stop all the other things. You just need to stop for a little bit today, allocate 10 minutes after you hear me talk to go through the processes and think about what you're currently doing and how you can change your approach to things. So what I did, instead of getting busier over the last week while the shit's been hitting the fan in my business, is I just took a step back and I observed myself. Then I watched all my processes and I watched all my patterns. And instead of just busying myself, because busyness is an addiction, and I was pretty heavily addicted to busyness because it was lighting up all the buttons that had me feel worthy, that made me feel like I was helping you, all the things that mattered to me. But when I took a step back, and I was like, hold on a second, how productive am I actually being? Really working with people one-on-one, getting knocked off center because I'm not ready for this scalability and this growth. And then, you know, so it's taking a step back and setting up processes and systems. If I didn't have this process, I wouldn't have had this awareness, and I'd be a blubbering mess on the floor right now. I'm definitely not presenting to you, having my podcast come out today. I've got some other really cool things this afternoon happening. So I want this for you guys. So if you've followed me for a while now, you know that we need to uncover your values, and that's a whole thing in the mastermind, your values and your soul purpose. And then the only reason you won't get those things is because usually of paradoxes that we're running. Fear will stop you. So I help you neutralize that. And the other thing is, you're spending your bloody time doing things that are not aligned with things that you want. Because most of us, unless you've done the work, don't actually consciously know what you want. It sits in your subconscious, which is why this feeling is always there. There's something more, there's something more. So here we are. This is what it looks like. It's part of the mastermind. I'm going to quickly take you through it. If I can work out how to share the link. How do I do this? Oh, you know me when I start pressing buttons on this thing. Oh, I think it worked. Did it? Yeah, just opened up. Productivity. So yeah, this is it. Okay, so just bear with me while I get my bearings around the computer. Okay, so if you can't see it on my Facebook pages, there is links in the comments above that my team has dropped in. So I really want you to be able to see this. I will verbalize it, but I want it into your subconscious so you can see it as well. So I use this, and it's part of the mastermind, and you're getting it in little bite-sized chunks. So we have the procrastination buster, which is already up. the paradoxes, which is already up, the prioritization, which I'm going to do at the end of the month next week, and the productivity optimizer. So this is what we're looking at today. So it's wise to analyze. This is the first column for those of you who can't see it. Hey, Kate, good to see you. It's wise to analyze and self-review as many areas and periods of your life as possible. Otherwise, we get in the autopilot and we keep wondering why we're not getting the things that we want that fill us up. It's because we've trained ourselves to get on autopilot, like I said at the beginning of the call. We've worked so hard, spent so much money mastering these routines and these rituals and these schedules that keep us here. We've got to get there, and then we've got to break out. We've got to break through to the other side, and this is going to help you do it. So an example is, I pull this up most nights. Gus and I will do it together. I pull it up most nights to see where I've spent time spinning my wheels through the day. And when I first heard about this, I was like, what a load of shit. Like, honestly, how much help can something be? And I think I obviously had to do a bit of clearing myself. But this, along with probably tapping and mirror work, are two or three of the things I always come back to. Sometimes I'll go through phases where I start forgetting to do it, or I get busy, or I get distracted. But when the shit starts to hit the fan, I'm like, hold on a second, am I doing this, this, and this? Always come back to it. So reviewing your time. Today, yesterday, last month, you can read through the examples. When you get if you've signed up, you're going to get the free template. Okay, so what we're going to do is, let's look at, so you're looking at the last month. Looking at the last month, so the description of the timeline is the last month. Then you're going to click over here, and it's all got examples. Let's close that down. It's all got examples. The greatest use of your time. Here's an example. So we're looking now over your last month where you have greatly used, so like really done a good job of utilizing your time effectively. So your time, not just your time actually, but your time, all your resources, being time, money, focus, energy, and all of your resources. So in this column here, you would write it down. So here's a couple of examples. So I look over my last month and I'm like, okay, where have I used my time really efficiently? How, when, why? And I put it all down here. I pay $50 a week, which is $50 for 2 hours of cleaning per week, in which time I produce products and services which are timeless and spaceless and help people even when I'm with the family. This creates passive income of incredible amounts. But the first thing I used to do, and it wasn't until I did this a couple of times I realized I was doing it. Tell me if you do this. I still catch myself doing it, okay? All of you up here that can comment, make sure you can comment. So, okay, I'm gonna look at getting a cleaner. It's $50 for 2 hours, might be 60 or a little bit more depending on where you live. Then I go to myself, $50 times 52 weeks a year. Oh, that's a couple of grand. That's a fair bit of money. That's a fair bit of money, guys. A couple of grand on cleaning, which is something easy. It doesn't take any thought process or power. You can just get in there and do it. Maybe I'll just do it myself. Save myself a couple of grand a year. But watch this. This is why this is so important. So I'm paying $50. My mind's thinking, you know, times 52, that's a couple of grand. Maybe I'll do it myself. But when I say, when somebody else does it, what am I doing while they're doing? And if my hourly rate's gone up to $500, $1,000, sometimes $3,000 an hour, depending on what's happening out there in the internet land and how engaged people are with buying my products, so I can make up to three grand an hour, and I choose to spend 2 hours cleaning my house. How much did it cost me? Someone tell me. It just cost me freaking $6 grand to clean my house. So do you think it might be a better use of my time to go to the person who is inspired, who loves cleaning, another mum, for me in this case a single local mum, that I can invite into my family and gift her a salary to do something she loves? So that's a great use of my time. Whereas if I hadn't have done this, I would still be in there cleaning the house and I wouldn't have time to be out talking to you guys. So that's one of the things that I use my time really grateful, because when the shit hit the fan and Gus lost his job and our income went from quite healthy to like down in the dumps, literally overnight, what was the first thing we did from an old paradigm? Look at the luxuries, look at the things we don't need to spend money on, and tighten the sphincter and go, oh my gosh, let's get all tight. And I caught myself doing it, and we were like, that's not an abundant mindset. If we take the money out of that, that's stopping the economy in the community, and then in her family, it's a flow-on effect. Okay, instead of cleaning the house for 2 hours, I'm going to create something. Webinar, podcast, all these amazing things were birthed at the beginning of COVID when Gus lost his job. So there's a great use of time there because I'm supporting someone, a local member of the community, which is one of my highest values, connection, growth, and getting out here and creating products. So I'm using examples here, obviously, that I have used, a lot of my clients come to me with, and ones that most of you on here are really going to resonate with, I think. So the next one was, I used every single night, not every single night, most nights, Gus and I sit down for 60 minutes together to study the brain chemistry. We're currently watching Joe Dispenza, which could deliver me over. So this is a really great investment of my time, because although maybe I'm not making money in that moment, I don't feel like I'm helping anyone in that moment. The big picture thing is, when I learn all this and I do it for myself and I teach you, it's been able to, probably this number's increased over 50 grand every couple of months in return. So do you think that's a great use of my time to sit down and do that? So we're scanning over our day or our last month, and we're coming up with our great uses of our time, and it's going to all make sense at the end. The other thing I do is I spend 80 months per month to subscribe to a personal development program that makes me over 10K per month. So when I first started, I'm going to tell you what happened. When I first started this program, 3 months in, and I'm seeing this process now with a lot of my clients, it must be something like literally set in our brain. 3 months in, I called him, I was like, I want to cancel. I'm not following up with it. I'm not listening to it. I can guarantee you guys, because I have taken what I was taught there and put it into my own mastermind. If I had not said, if I had have listened to myself and got out of that mastermind, we would be up to shit right now. The very first thing they said to us in the mastermind was, get off your butt, go and put 10% of everything you owe, the cream off the top, go and put it into a bank account and never touch it for when the shit hits the fan. My voice in my head is saying, the shit's never going to hit the fan. We're going to be fine. Guess what happened 10 weeks ago? The shit hit the fan. If I had got out of that mastermind at month 3, with the statistics show, most people, and the statistics that I'm getting now are showing people get out of it, then yeah. So I spend $80 a month. It might have been a little less back then. I tried to get out of it, because once again, I just looked at the scarcity mindset. It's $80 a month times every month, 12 months a year. That's, you know, a fair bit of money, blah, 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 old story, old paradigm. But now what it's been able to do to me is create that 10 grand a month, which to me is irrelevant. The abundance to me is the testimonials I get. The abundance to me is when I'm sitting having a warm tea at night and people send me a photo of them doing their hour. I'm watching Joe Dispenza. They're freaking watching me on their TV, on their computer. I'm like, that is priceless. Is that a great use of my time? Yes or no? Yes or yes? You guys tell me. Let's go through. I see some noddings of the head. So that's $80 a month. I used to 60 minutes to provide a free service or a lesson that resulted in 8K worth of sales. Once again, the money is irrelevant to me. It comes. Once you're in abundance and you're in flow and you're helping people, the income will just flow just come with that. Don't focus on the money. You've got to have things set up. Money likes organization and structure. So be organized, be structured, but most importantly, be in flow. So 8K in sales, yes, thank you very much, universe. But more importantly to me, because I've been able to spend this time with people, I have created a raving customer who wakes up every morning with me in their head, their home, and their heart, like wanting to listen to stuff. I want more of that. I want to learn. How did she do that? She's a normal human. I can do that too. And quite often, because I'm working with entrepreneurs, I create another leader in the industry where you are going out and you are taking what you love, your sole purpose. You are seeing where the gaps are in the community, and you create the product and the service that you absolutely love to do, and you're charging a fair exchange for it. So it can be your income. Don't let this paradigm of doing what you love means you can't earn money. We don't earn money, we create it. We serve people, and then the income from that is a flow-on effect from your integrity, from your vibration, from what you're producing. Sometimes it takes a little while to get started, because most of us, myself included, have been brainwashed and conditioned to focus on the bottom line, to focus on the dollar. We've got to trust. We've got to uncover the soul purpose. Like I said, the gold nuggets. rinse them off, refine them, polish them, and then just keep trusting and taking the next step, refining your time, finding what it is that, yeah. So that's it. That's what I did great. I want you to write down there what you did great. Here's a waste of my time, which is a really good, I look back over the month and go, okay, where have I wasted my time? Where have I spent time spinning the wheels? And it's all going to come in to a conclusion at the end. So greatest waste of time, where have I spent time, money, focus, or energy, any of my resources where it's been a waste of time? Let's have a look at this. This is going to blow your socks off. I use this one, I'm going to go through it quickly. I'm probably getting to nearly the hour. I used to use 3 to 4 hours of my time to do the shopping every week. By the time you bloody well drive up there, get out of the car, walk around in circles like a headless chicken, having all these like mind-blowing things, usually from your childhood, you don't even realize you're getting triggered the whole time in the shopping center, the way that your parents did. It's exhausting. I walk out of the shops exhausted, and I didn't even know for ages that I was doing this. Anyway, 3 to 4 hours. But I was thinking to myself, if I paid my assistant to do it, it might cost me $40. But now I've sacrificed, if I can earn up or create up to $3,000. So now the shopping just cost me, if it was 3 hours, it cost me friggin' $9,000. That's expensive shopping. Don't do that. And building content and assets. So me spending 3 to 4 hours doing my shopping is a great waste of my resources, my time, my effort, my energy, my money, my focus. My focus is not where it needs to be to continue to create. So that was one place I was wasting my time. Secondly, I used 2 hours of focus and manifestation power. So 2 full hours in fear about my actually, to be honest, it was probably more like 2 weeks. Nah, probably not 2 weeks, maybe 2 days. When the shit hit the fan with Gus's job and everything, I spent some time in fear. And if I had stayed in fear, then the vibration of what I'm creating and producing is fear. I just spent time spinning my wheels in fear and loss and worrying about him. So what did I do? I was like, okay, what did I do today? Oh, I spent 2 hours worrying there, or I was creating stuff, but in the back of my head, I felt sick. And the vibration that I was in when I was creating that thing was fear, and it comes out in your stuff. If I'm in fear, if I'm in worry, if you know well and you pick up on energies, you'll feel it when I talk to you. So I have to neutralize it. I spent 2 hours, wasted 2 hours, 2 days, 2 weeks, whatever it was. Some of you, it's a bloody well lifetime living in fear. So you're going to look over your day, your month, go, let's just stick to the day for now. Where yesterday did I live in fear? Or yeah, let's just break it down to a day. I think that's going to be more helpful. So worrying about the finances without any attempt to dissolve my charges or create a viable action plan. That's 2 hours. I usually only get about 4 to 6 hours into work before my kids get home. So that's a good bloody waste of the day, isn't it? Okay, here's the big one. Here's a big doozy, and I'm saying this on Facebook Live. You're all hearing it. I gossiped. I used 28 minutes, because I timed it, gossiping and small talking with my friend without any attempt to help them dissolve their charges and see the light. My return is minus 28 minutes, and a friend who now knows they can air their uncleared charges and judgments towards me. So I've got a bit of a hard time for this in the past, and I've actually lost friends about it, over it, because they're like, going into story, and we all have it. We all are charged to certain things that have hurt us or worried us or felt like shit. And let me know if I'm on my own. Oh, I like to know that if I'm not just the crazy one. So something happens and your friend calls and you spend 28 minutes bitching and moaning and whinging about it. I'll give you 3 if I'm your friend, and I ask for the same in return. If I start bitching and moaning about something, give me 3 minutes to vent and get it out, and then say, well, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Because bitching, moaning and groaning is just creating more of it for you. And so people used to get, oh, you ever do you ever not life coach? And I'm like, I'm not life coaching you. I'm choosing what I do with my time. I'm not, and I did. This was fairly recently as well. Bloody sitting there bitching about the government and this and that and the politicians and whatever. And after I reviewed my day, I was like, well, that was 28 minutes. I could have created a whole product in 28 minutes. I could have done a whole live and shared one of my tools in 28 minutes. This is it, guys. So please don't not be my friend, because I'll only give you 3 minutes, but that's all right. I'm losing friends left, right and center at the moment, so I'll have to get used to it, I think. I see some people laughing down there. Okay, so yeah, don't do that. That was a waste of my time and their time. So now we're going to go over, and it's always about viable action. How can we now take you with this awareness? You know what you've done great. You know where there's areas to improve. How can we create an action plan with real solid awareness for the future? So this is it. We've broken it down. Set up bloody online shopping. Woohoo! Why did it take me a year to do it? Honestly, I had the idea before I even started this tool. It's like, I should just do online shopping. And you know, I live and breathe this shit. Like, it's my work. I wake up, I think about it every day. Poor Gus's ears get chomped off about, you know, this person and that person and this tool and how we can make that and how can I get that to more people and how can I have this? And, you know, if I'm teaching this, but I'm not up to scratch there, like, honestly, I live and breathe it. Took me a year. And I'm thinking, if it's taken me a year to set up online shopping, which literally would take 5 minutes, how long has it taken people that are less committed to this? So prove me wrong. If you set up your online shopping and you take a photo of it and send it to me, I'll give you a free copy of my book, because it took me a year. And do you think it took me a year when I worked out that my shopping was possibly costing me $9,000? Fuck no. I got on there straight away and was like, set up the shopping. Who can I pay to set up my shopping so I can get out here and deliver the content to you guys? So set up online shopping, share it. The thing is, this is the lesson in it, right? For me, it was because it was a change in my habits, and I'm quite stubborn. And I set my whole day up, and next week would go by, and then the next week would go by, and then I'd be thinking, oh, I should do that. And then I'd forget about it for a bit, and then the next week would go by. And to be honest, I've been doing it for months now, and I still sometimes struggle with it. I planned it, I put it in my calendar, I do it every Wednesday night, but guess what? I bloody well forgot last night, didn't I? Because I changed my routine and I changed the pattern, and I get to the 2 today and be like, oh my gosh, this subconscious stuff runs your life. So instead of getting upset about it, I just pull up the tool, do the thing, take the step and move on. Okay, so set up online shopping, share it on Rise and Shine page. You're going to get yourself a free book. If you've already got a book, I'll give you something of value, because I want to see you take action. And it's the small things that we do every single day that then will make it into the big things. As soon as I spend 1 minute, so this is like counteracting, obviously, spending time worrying about my finances and my money when Gus lost his job. As soon as I spend 1 minute, as soon as I feel it in my body with my finances, I load up the No Worries tool and I clear away the charge. And that's exactly what we did. After the 2 days or 2 weeks, when I realized what was happening, I come out here to my office, I got my laptop, I pulled up the tool, we sat out on the deck and we did it together. It took a little bit of time because it was, you know, Gus has been a pilot. He's an international pilot for Virgin. Ever since he was a little boy, all the photos that you see with him, he's got like, I want to be a pilot when I grow up, or a badge, or a pilot's hat. Like, it's his sole purpose. It's all he's ever wanted to do. It's quite hard to get into the airlines, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of training, living out in the middle of Timbuktu, eating sausages and baked beans and Maggi noodles for years while he was getting up his hours, getting paid 20 grand a year. And he finally got there. We've been doing this for 10, like, I met him after he'd paid it all off, and he was just like a pilot. So that was cool. And he loves his job, more importantly, because there's probably plenty of pilots out there that did it for the lifestyle or the money, but they don't love flying, and that will eat away at your soul. So anyway, yeah, we sat out there and I could see he was quite concerned and worried, and in the uncertainty, honestly, pulled up the No Worries tool. It took us a little longer because there's some pretty deep-seated stuff for both of us. The moment we got through that process together, it was like this massive thing just lifted off it gave us freedom and focus and presence. And honestly, I was thinking about this the other day as I was going through some rough stuff. I was like, not minimizing what anybody's going through, but the last 10 weeks for us being locked down at home all together have been some of the most powerful, poignant, amazing moments of my life. And it's really shown me so much about my life, myself, my relationships, how adaptable I am when I commit to something, what I can create. So if I hadn't have done that process with him and spent that time doing it, we would probably be in the shit right now. We'd be fighting because our relationship was starting to be affected. There was an edge there because he was stressed, I was stressed, we weren't connecting. So yeah, that's, you know, I'd give away, I'm on Facebook Live up here. So yeah, it was a really rough time, but if I hadn't have done that, things would not be the way they are today. So I would love you guys who have just jumped on here. There should be a link above. Come on down here so you can see the webinar. So this is the viable alternative. to gossiping with my friends about the government. So I was like 28 minutes, because when I realized I was doing it, and funny thing is, if I'm being honest, there was also, I realized I was gossiping, blaming the government, blaming this, doing the thing, and I just felt really good. And I thought, oh, I know I'm doing it, but just a few more minutes. And if I hadn't caught myself at the end of the day when I did my review, then what would have happened was I would have not had that awareness and be able to change it. So listen to what's happened here instead. So in the future, the moment I recognize I'm gossiping, I'll give myself or my friends 3 minutes to vent. And then I will give my friends compassion, myself compassion, for the unwise judgments of choosing to gossip or whatever it is, bitching about someone or whatever. But rather, I will gracefully find a way to help myself and them see the truth, and neutralizes the charges while being as supportive as I can. I will not buy into stories and throw rocks at other people, whether it's like other people you know or the government, which further polarizes them and perpetuate their suffering. So can you see how powerful that is? If you were to sit down at the end of the day, look and scan through your day with a fine-tooth comb. Where have you spent time spinning your wheels? Where have you spent time in worry? Where have you spent time in gossip? Where have you spent time in doing the shopping that's taken you 3 hours where you could have created something? And if we can refine all that, people come to me, the question I get the most, guys, is how do you get so much done? You have got 2 little kids. Gus was away a lot. I wrote a book. I released several pieces of merchandise. I published a deck of cards. I was running events left, right, and centre several a week, but between speaking at other people's, I did 2 national tours, speaking tours all around Australia, all in about just under a year. And the second book will be out. Once I decide, the second book will probably be out in a month. So this is why, because I'm not spending time spinning my wheels. If I'm feeling a certain way, we go in and we pull these up and we go through it and we neutralize it so we can be in truth and presence, and we can continue to love, continue to generate the freedom, continue to support each other. So I hope this has been helpful. If you have signed on, you are going to get a free copy of this template. I'm going to take you back quickly before I finish, if I can work out how. So that's it. And you just type it in all there and you go through it every night. If you've got a friend or you're part of the community, get yourself an accountability buddy and check in weekly so you can see what's happening for everyone. Okay, let's see, where are we? You guys can see my screen. And we need to go back to the slideshow, which is here. Here we go. Why isn't it working? Let's see if this works. Google Drive. I'll just go into it again. See, I don't do it because I'm not doing it because I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to get back from there to here. So I'm just going the long way. And then we'll search in here, week 9 this week, guys. Extra support. And it's not coming up for me. Let's see, where are you? It's just like completely moved from my, it's there. Come on, work for me. There we go, got it. It's not letting me present now for some reason, but you can still see, we'll go back to the page that we were on. It's just taking its time. And we were here. So we just discussed this. The only other things that'll stop you, which I mentioned before, is not knowing your values or not living a life aligned with your values. Paradoxes, conflicts, someone says this, someone says that. I found myself a lot, like as I'm going through transition, the old me says this, the new me is saying this, and unless you catch it, you'll be spinning your wheels in the middle. So we've got to go, what's the thesis? What's the antithesis? So option A, option B, let's make an option C with consciousness. Write it down so you can choose it. So we go through that in the mastermind as well. So those are the things that'll stop you getting the things that you want in your life, not knowing what it is that you want. 2, not knowing what your values are and living your life in alignment with your values. Paradox or conflicts internally that you're running. fear and also spending your time doing things like that aren't, you know, adding to the process. Okay, so other options. So you're on this call. It's amazing to see you. Hey, Jess, good to see you. And Carla, and two Jesses, Kate, everybody. The other options for you if you want more of this type of information is obviously the podcast, which I told you about earlier. Comes out every Monday now, has the intro and outro, and you're going to have a giggle every time you hear it. The extra support webinar, which is obviously today. We also have one for the VIPs on a Tuesday night. Oh, thanks, love. Gus just bought me lunch. The meetups that we run online, we do workshops. Most of the time they're sold out. So if you see one come up, you want to get on there and get your tickets straight away. And my sister, beautiful Michelle, is running cacao ceremonies. So you are a creative being. By being, you are creating. I just like to put that in there because it reminds me why I do what I do. Okay, so if I can do it, you heard me say it before, it's very rarely perfect. I take imperfect action every single day. And this is just a reminder of what I've been able to accomplish by doing this and running my life and using these tools. So I've written my book, I need to get all the photo shoots redone because it's bestseller now, and put the photo on the front. The mastermind is up and pumping, and this is my life. Like, I get to choose every day what I do. And it's usually in here, creating something or speaking with you guys. But this is a possibility for you as well. Always like to show these photos too, because this is my vision. This is what I'm holding while we're all sort of, I know lockdown's releasing, but the merchandise should be here any day. The earrings, sterling silver, these are still going global, speaking and sharing from stage, running the retreats. Yeah, the next book's coming soon. Obviously getting to spend so much time with these beautiful, amazing people, my little family, showing others how to do what they love and create an income. Yeah, full house always. And obviously all the other things that are there. So where to from here, guys? If you're wanting more of this information, the free content is podcast on Monday. If you're a VIP exclusive, you'll get the coaching call with me on a Tuesday night. Then we have this on a Thursday, but I'm offering you all free 7 days to the mastermind. So all you need to do is message me and I'll give you a free 7 days. If it's for you and you dip your toes in and you make massive change, then stay on. If it's not for you, just unsubscribe and jump out. If you're an emergency worker or a frontline staff, PM me, I'll give you a super special for everything that you're doing for us. But I cannot stress highly enough, guys, I cannot do this for you. When people come to me and they say they want to cancel it, I can guarantee it's the people that have barely even opened it or watched anything, because I haven't been committed enough to work out how to get through the technological side of it. Honestly, if I can do it, you can do it. I can barely even say the word. I don't know how to use the computer. 2 years ago, I put a post up the other day because it was just over 4 years actually. I did one of my first business courses. It was 10 grand. I didn't have 10 grand. Michelle and I literally stayed in the shoebox cupboard because we didn't have enough money for accommodation. We got all our shopping at Woolies, and I didn't even have a laptop. I was going to a business and I felt like a total fraud because I wanted to have a business. So I was manifesting. I put myself in and around business people. It was mainly men of very successful, wealthy businesses. And we had an idea. We were pretending we had a business, but we didn't. The Oil Sisters, when we first started with the essential oils, it was crazy. Anyway, living in this closet, and I didn't know how to do it. I didn't even have a computer. I manifested one literally a day or two before the course. Couldn't turn it on, and then sat in this course like inside, just freaking out. That guy, Dale Bowman, I don't know if you've heard of him, Business Blueprint, posted a photo the other day with my book. And even when I was in his course, this is right back 4 years ago, so I was still really like shaky and not the woman that you've met here today. I bloody well kept picking me out of the 300 entrepreneurs in the room. He asked me to stand up about 6 times, hold this bloody microphone, like my hand was shaking like this. And then he contacted me the other day because he's seen my stuff. He's like, send me a copy of your book. And I said, when you stood on stage and you've got 12 bestsellers, I'm like, oh man, if this dude can do it, I can do it. And that's what I told him I thought. So honestly, don't use the technique. This will change your life. It will help you get relationships. It will help you increase your income doing what you love with people that you love. It's going to show you, we set up really solid morning routines and I give you the time to do it, and it will change your life. So please make sure you're committed to it. Dip your toes in, stuff that. Don't dip your toes in, jump in the deep end and sink or swim. You're either going to come along for the journey or you're going to crumble away and go do your own thing. And that's completely fine as well. So this photo, you need to get all the gear off and just jump in the puddle. Who's going to get all their gear off and jump in the puddle with me? So I'm going to give anyone that takes action today, send me a personal message, Diane McKendrick. My team will send you the information. You can sign up today, 7 days, get as much in as you can. Like I said, stay or go if it's for you. Who is ready to change? You need to make a choice right now. You will always hear me say, young people are waving left, right, and center. You'll always hear me say, guys, when you hear me talk, when you're on a call with me, allocate 5 to 10 minutes after to take immediate, inspired action. Book something, do something, schedule something. So give yourself 5 minutes to 10 minutes after this before you eat. I do it as well. That's also another technique of how I get so much done. Because while I'm in this flow, while I'm like lit up because I'm talking to you, I go, what was that thing I was too scared to do before? I write it down. As soon as I get off this call, I literally set the timer 5 minutes, get that done. I put a post up the other day. My VIPs helped me come up with it. Remember who was on that call? The more time you give yourself to get something done, the longer it takes. Quote Diane McKendrick. It's so true. So many of us, because I'm watching your patterns now, we all do the bloody same thing. I'm going to have a workshop in 2 months from now. No, you're not. Have it in 2 weeks. Why 2 months? And when I kept asking people, it was the same answers, just dressed up and decorated in a different way. So that's what I'm really good at. I'm really good, I've realized just recently, noticing and watching patterns that can't be seen by the eye, because I've realized we're all human. It all comes from the same place. It's all just dressed and manifested differently and decorated differently, but a lot of the time it's the same thing. That's why it's easy and in flow for me to produce these products and services, because I personally go through it and I just see it every day within us. So get your 5 to 10 minutes, book it in, do that thing, implement something immediately that you have learnt today. And always remember, it's the small things that you choose every single day, or not choose every single day, that make the difference. Because you've got to choose it or not choose it. There's some things that you're going to look at and go, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to choose this instead. So welcome to the tribe. I hope you've really enjoyed everything that you've heard today. For those of you who are on the Zoom, I know all of you are all part of the stuff already, but there's a QR code here. If you needed to see the website, or you're not part of the Rise Up or the Soul Junkies, that takes you into our linked tree, or LinkedIn tree, no, linked tree, which gives you all everything. If you're working with me closer, we're going to talk about that and help you set all that up for yourself, but not now. That's another call. So welcome to the tribe. Go ahead, take inspired, immediate action. If you are registered on this call, you're going to get a recording of this and you'll get the free template as well. If you're part of the mastermind, you get an in-depth video of me taking you through the process. Okay, so thank you everybody for joining us today. And now it's like a massive job to stop all my devices. So I'm going to say bye to everybody. I'll stop this one here. Finish. Bye, everybody. And then we're going to get this, you guys going.